Still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
This is the embarrassing part. Hello, everybody. How are you? This is Alex Bennett, and this is a Ramble. It goes on until, midnight on the East Coast. Wait a minute. Let me turn the light on. There we go. Now we're officially on the air. See that? There you go. There you go.
It's impressive.
What? It is impressive, isn't it? That voice that you hear off on the side, I'll try and give him a face here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to remember which one of these was was camera B. There we go. There's camera B, and there is our old friend from, I guess, where are you from now? Where do we say you're from? Cleveland, Ohio?
Oh God. Shaker Heights, Ohio. But it's a weird vanity that people who
kind of turn a little bit that way, so you're kind of looking at the
It's a weird vanity.
Yeah.
That people who live in a suburb of Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
who never go to Cleveland, say they live in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now, I grew up in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
And couple of the blocks of Maplewood, New Jersey borders Newark.
Yeah.
At no time have I ever said I grew up in Newark. We do everything possible to avoid saying we grew up in Newark, yet the people who live surrounding Cleveland all say they're from Cleveland. And I say, these suburbs like Beechwood and Shaker Heights are beautiful, magnificent suburbs. Why would you ever say you live in Cleveland, which is hell? And they all say, well, no one knows where these suburbs are. I said, well, you need to educate them, because no one should know where Cleveland is.
Wait a minute. Now, you can look at me, too, when I'm talking.
I'll do whatever you want.
Whenever. I don't know. It's just...
You should set up the cameras differently.
No.
Then I'm going to look here.
Anyway, I had a girlfriend who was from Cleveland.
When? In the 50s?
No,
When?
no. The girlfriend I went with for like 11 years, who broke up with me 11 times in those 11 years. And she loved Cleveland. And then finally she and her mother moved back to Cleveland.
Where?
Cleveland.
No, they didn't.
Yes, Cleveland.
The city of Cleveland.
It
the
was,
address said Cleveland.
I went to their house and it was in Cleveland. Well, greater Cleveland.
Right. They didn't live in Cleveland.
They lived in Cleveland.
No, because it'd be like living in Newark.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yes.
Well, I went to visit her in Cleveland. And it wasn't a bad little town. It was a town that was somewhat depressed at that time. I don't know if it's still that depressed financially.
There are two Clevelands. There's Cleveland 1 and Cleveland 2.
Yeah.
Cleveland 1...
Oh, by the way, this is Walter Sterling, might I say.
Cleveland 1 is where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, the Cleveland Art Institute is, Case Western Reserve, beautiful buildings, beautiful institutions, well-financed, incredibly well-landscaped, gorgeous.
Yeah.
No one lives there. The people live in Cleveland 2, which is the ring around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all of the nice exhibits. Cleveland 2 is slums. It's all slums. It's burned out houses. It's
she didn't live there.
Right, it's government finance housing. And then the third ring around Cleveland is the wealthy suburbs that aren't named Cleveland. They're called University Heights, Beechwood, Shaker Heights, Mayfield Heights. Those are
well, she lived in that there's a whole area down there that's kind of in a gulch or something, and it's got the factories were there and
the flats.
The flats. And she lived on the edge of the flats.
Well, it could go either way.
It was kind of a nice apartment house.
Yeah, but she broke up with you.
Yeah.
And yet it haunts you to this day.
No. Yes. No. No. Yes.
Because she broke up with you.
Yes.
If you had broken up with her, it wouldn't haunt you.
Well, no, we went together with each other for 11 years, I think it was. And she broke up with me 11 times during those 11 years. And then finally, the last time she broke up with me, I said, well, that's it, I'm not going back. And we didn't see each other for a long time. And then I went to Sirius XM, and I got a job at Sirius XM, and I'm doing my show, and all of a sudden I hear from her. She's living in Cleveland. And we strike up a conversation. We start talking with each other. Finally, I fly out there. We decide that we're in love with each other again. And then she comes out to visit me, and on the first day she's here, she's saying, I decided I don't love you. So,
Who was the other guy?
there was no other guy. If there was another guy, at least I could say, I guess my dick isn't big enough or something, But no, it wasn't another guy.
When you were on over-the-air commercial broadcast,
Yeah.
could you say the words blowjob?
No.
Why?
Well, because I could say blow,
But you couldn't say
and I
blowjob.
could say job,
Yeah.
but I couldn't say them in the same sentence.
Now, Iggy Azalea said it multiple times on Hot 97 in New York. Multiple times, and they didn't bleep her. It was okay for Iggy Azalea. Would this hypocrisy bother you if you were a host today?
I think it probably would. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why there should be a different standard for a woman than there is for a guy. I don't find that acceptable. Okay.
Now, how do you deal with this other issue which is haunting me for the past 2 days?
Turn a little bit that way.
Which way? This way?
Yeah.
This, because the camera should be here.
I know it should be, but
But
it
you
isn't.
didn't put it there.
But it is.
No. So I watched this Netflix special documentary on Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And I watched
I started to watch it, but I couldn't get through it.
I watched it twice
Yeah.
because there were women testifying against Harvey in this documentary to whom he had done terrible things, unquestionably horrible situation, he deserves whatever he gets. Got it. But there was this other group of women who told this story. I went to his hotel room. He was horrible to me. He did unspeakable things. I was very uncomfortable. I left. Okay. Then, a month later, he came back to town. He called me to his hotel room again. And I went, and he did unspeakable things. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets very confusing. To clear it up for me, I went to the 14-year-old and 16-year-old daughters. And I told them what I just told you. I said, what, how am I confused? They said, you're not confused. That woman was an idiot. Those women are idiots. We'd never go back again. And the minute it would be uncomfortable, we know what a doorknob looks like. I'm like, thank you, I'm not insane.
Yeah, but here's what the argument is.
Yes.
That the Me Too chicks are saying.
Chicks.
Yeah, Me Too broads are saying, okay, is that he was a man of power.
So?
And so therefore he was exerting his power to get laid.
Yeah.
Well, look at Harvey Weinstein. The only thing he could use to get laid was his power. He
Exactly.
certainly didn't have charisma.
No.
He didn't have beauty. If these women had gone to an apartment and there was Robert Redford and he made a pass at them, or Paul Newman, they would the next day be telling all their friends, guess who I fucked last night?
Maybe.
But Weinstein was repulsive.
Yes.
Let's be honest about it. And I think he's very guilty of whatever he's guilty of, I'm
Yes.
sure. Okay. But he's also guilty of one other thing, being repulsive, because if he weren't that repulsive, he wouldn't be in this much trouble now.
But at what point is a woman culpable or responsible if she goes back again?
Well,
see, that's the puzzle to me.
I think that if she knows what happened the first time and she goes back, then I'm sorry, I can't sympathize with
It's
it.
very difficult.
Yeah.
And it sort of negates the charges on her first visit because she was invested heavily even in the first visit if she'd go back again.
Yeah. Well, I understand the idea that he's a man of great power.
Yeah.
And that they expected that maybe they were going to get something out of it. And he used that power to impose upon them. And I understand that, and I understand any feminist or Me Too woman who would like to say that was the problem, that they're absolutely right.
They're right.
However, you do have the ability to say, well, fuck this, no job is worth, giving a blowjob
Yeah.
to an ugly, horrible guy with probably a stumpy dick.
Yeah.
All right? So the fact that they did it meant that they were willing to, at some point, compromise themselves and let him use his power to intimidate them into doing something. Here's what I found.
None of them said, and then he held a knife to my neck. All of them said that he took off his clothes, he masturbated in front of them.
All you do is you turn around and walk out.
And you leave. Right. You leave.
But they felt if they did that, they would never work in Hollywood again. And that's where the power thing comes in. I think they were mistaken. I think they had the ultimate power because they could tell this story.
Right. Now I'll tell you, good point. Now, very good point. Now I'll tell you who has the ultimate power. The ultimate power now are the other women impacted by Harvey Weinstein who haven't said a word. They have the ultimate power. The actresses who did get parts and
let's talk about that for a second. One of the women who came out and absolutely vilified, let me get all these wires out of your way, absolutely vilified Weinstein after the fact was Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, let's remember that Gwyneth Paltrow is a fairly talentless actress. She's not a very good actress. She's mediocre at best. Harvey gave her the part in Shakespeare in Love and then went out, as Harvey did every year, and literally politicked to get her the Academy Award. He put out hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever it took, in advertising, publicity, greasing palms, whatever it took, to get her the Academy Award.
Right.
So how does she sit there and suddenly give this, say terrible things about this guy? Oh, he came on to me and blah, blah. Gwyneth, you got an Academy Award for really mediocre. I mean, I don't know how she won it for that picture. She wasn't that good,
If she wants to do it without being a hypocrite, she returns the Academy Award. If she says, listen, it was all jumbled in my head. I was much younger. I should have never accepted this. I should have turned him in long ago. I am sorry. I'm telling you what happened.
Here's my Academy Award.
But here's to the Academy. I apologize to every other actress.
She's not going to do that.
No. But it also explains why she...
And by the way, we should say, folks, and you should understand this, we're not taking great sympathy with Harvey Weinstein at all.
None.
None at all. And in fact, you knew him, right? Or you knew his brother.
I know his brother, and his brother was not him.
Yeah, right. I met his brother at one of your parties.
His brother was first to say, I'm not my brother.
But, the other part of that story that people don't fail to mention is that everybody knew this about Harvey Weinstein. This was going on for years. Harvey had a reputation for exactly this kind of behavior.
He had a reputation for all known bad behaviors. Yeah. Temper, inappropriate in restaurants, in public places, managing people. He was a nightmare.
Yeah.
In every way.
Yeah.
And but the thing about the actresses, part of it is in the context of the history of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. This is old news in Hollywood. It's old news in Hollywood.
But I mean, everybody knew about Harvey Weinstein. Everybody knew about his offensive nature in getting women to have sex with him.
Yes.
And so this wasn't like a big Hollywood secret that all of a sudden Ronan Farrow discovered. Okay.
Now Ronan's problematic in himself because. I wish Ronan would come out, forgive the expression, I wish Ronan would come out and say, Frank Sinatra's my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
He owes us that for all this crusade of truth. Okay, Frank Sinatra has to be your father based on every photograph we've ever seen.
He's certainly not Woody Allen's.
Well, you betcha he's not Woody Allen.
I mean, there's nothing there that looks like Woody Allen,
Plus, you combine the fact that he seems to hate Woody Allen. It works.
Yeah. If Woody Allen were truly his father, he probably wouldn't be throwing him to the wolves like this. He might dislike him, he might not have anything to do with him or whatever, but he wouldn't be vilifying him, And but he, I mean, you're absolutely right. Where's the? Hey, I'm Frank Sinatra's son. You're absolutely right. The thing is that I dislike entirely about Ronan Farrow is that he's made his success off of making other people's lives miserable.
Beyond miserable.
Yeah.
It's not like it's in a long crusade of investigative journalism where he's saved hungry children in other countries. No, he came right out there,
Yeah.
right out there, and made many lives.
Isn't he another form of the National Enquirer in a way?
No. What was the name of that magazine before the Enquirer?
Confidential.
Yes, he's Confidential magazine.
Yeah, only because he does it over at the New Yorker.
Oh, well then it's a Pulitzer.
It's a Pulitzer, exactly.
Then it's a dignified piece of journalism.
You know, but I mean, one day they're going to find out he's into something terrible, you know.
But I'll tell you...
And I will be the first one to just jump up and down with joy.
There was a quote
Yeah.
that for how this guy got a free pass on this, I will never know. When the Harvey Weinstein story broke, and...
He did not break it, by the way. That was not his. That was some guy, people over, I think, at the New York Times.
I think you're right.
2 women over at the New York Times, yeah.
When that story broke...
But then he capitalized on it.
You betcha.
Yeah.
That week, we all watched Saturday Night Live to see how they were going to parody it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't touch it. To the point where it was such a negligence that they didn't touch the Harvey Weinstein story at all. When Lorne Michaels appeared in public later that week someplace, a bunch of reporters got around him, and one of the reporters said, "Why didn't you make fun of Harvey Weinstein this week? Why didn't you cover that in any of your sketches?" Do you remember what Lorne Michaels said? It was amazing what he said. He said, quote, it's a New York thing. Like, what? It's a New York thing.
In a way, he's not wholly wrong in that. You know, that I'm sure this story about Harvey Weinstein did not play as strong in Iowa as it did in New York City. You know, it also played in Hollywood because he was a Hollywood player. I'll tell you, you know, and by
I don't
the way,
think that's what
it's
he
not
was
that we're
saying.
defending Harvey Weinstein, but
Yeah.
there's a big difference between the Harvey Weinstein situation and the Bill Cosby situation.
Entirely different.
Bill Cosby was accused of drugging women,
Entirely different.
you know, which I could never understand because to begin with, he was a good-looking guy when he was younger,
And he was Bill Cosby.
and he was Bill Cosby.
He shouldn't have
He could
needed
have
to.
just gotten laid
So-
on that alone.
So part of his kick was knocking them out.
Yes, exactly.
That was part of his
know.
king.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to have sex with a woman who's comatose, but then again, I've been so boring at times I've made them that way. So you know, I just bore them to death and then they pass out, and I hope they pass out with their mouth open. But anyway, you know, I mean, Bill Cosby, terrible, you know, terrible. But everybody knew that about Cosby too.
Did they?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there were, you know, these were the things that everybody knew. And hey, you know about Cosby. Hey, you know, well, especially you know about Weinstein. Oh, well, everybody knows about Weinstein. I mean, if Gwyneth Paltrow went, or somebody, one of them went, gee, I didn't know this was going on. Well, you're the last person in Hollywood who found out, okay? Because everybody knew that in Hollywood. It was just if Weinstein asks you up to his apartment at 10 o'clock at night, or any time, you better expect to go there and have him try to put the make on you. And unless you don't, if you don't want that, then don't go. So there was that option. I'll tell you the guy I feel sorry for. My friend Louis C.K.
Yes.
Okay, because to begin with, he was in that first wave of the Me Too thing. If it had happened right now, he probably would skate on a certain level, all right? But Louis C.K. supposedly, and he admits to it, said to a bunch of women in a room, about 3 of them, I think, do you mind if I pull my penis out?
Yeah.
And nobody said no. So he pulled his penis out. He thought that was very funny. And I don't know if he started jerking off or whatever. I don't know what the rest of the story is, but he pulled the penis out. This is what he is guilty of. Now, to begin with, what's he guilty of? Being a perfect gentleman? I mean, he asked permission first. Not one of these women said, no, don't do that. Or if you do that, I'm leaving. Or, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. They all stood there and watched him pull his penis out.
And by the way, about that and that guy on the CBS Morning News, all these old guys who pull out their penises in public in front of women, what do they think the result is going to be? What do they think the result's going to be? What could be less appealing to a woman than an old guy randomly pulling out his penis and masturbating?
Well, or even Louis C.K. doing that. But
yeah, he was plenty old.
yeah, and Louis supposedly did this a lot. He found this funny.
Where do you do this a lot? Where do you do this a lot? In ShopRite? How is this? How does this happen?
Yeah. But all I'm saying is that I think that there are a lot of women in this world who get raped. They get beaten by their husbands. They are abused in one way or another. And somehow some of this stuff tends to trivialize it. I mean, some of these stories. I mean, I'm sorry. What Louis C.K. did was inappropriate at worst.
At worst, but nobody got hurt.
Yeah, nobody got hurt. And yet now Louis C.K.
See, what I don't understand, at the same time that all this is going on and Louis C.K. has lost his career, and many others have too, there are NFL players who have hit their wives and they're playing football. Or Chris Brown, who hit Beyonce, and he's still booking concerts. And I'm like, no. In my opinion, if a man hits a woman, that's it. You don't work again.
Yeah.
You're not. No one should be allowed to hire you. No one should allowed to rent an apartment to you. You don't get all your passes are used up. You hit a woman, you're done.
Yeah.
To me, that's the simplest equation there could possibly be. And I hear women screaming for this.
But I'll tell you what happens also.
Yes.
It's the judgment and the penalty before any proof is presented. In other words, these companies get rid of people because the accusation has been made. All it had to be is an accusation, and they let you go.
Yeah, the HR police. And let me give you a meta theory. My meta theory is this. The reason these things happen, that people do dumb things in the workplace and the HR police put an end to it and people get fired, is that we work on the false assumption that we should all get along. And I would suggest that we are by DNA not supposed to get along. That we are not supposed to get along based on DNA. Because if we all got along, the species would have died out years ago because there would not have been enough food. If there was enough, if everybody got along and said, oh yeah, here's all the food, we share it equally, well, the food would run out quickly. The reason that wars and everything started was there wasn't enough food. And there wasn't enough water. So we're programmed to fight.
By the way, folks, that's his hand coming into my camera, just like I can get mine to go into his. If you turn that way and then look at me, then they'll get a better shot of you. Right. That's it. That's the... Anyway, so the point I'm making is that certainly I don't countenance this behavior. It's no behavior that I would ever involve myself in,
No.
although, I don't know, maybe there's some crazy woman out there who wants to say I did something inappropriate, but I certainly never have, to my knowledge. Okay. Which, of course, brings up, how about the wacky women? The ones who want to get even.
Well,
all of a sudden, what happens is they're believed immediately, and the man isn't.
Every man, and some women, if they're honest, will tell you there are crazy women.
Yeah.
The ones who call you at 2:22 in the morning for no reason. I just wanted to call to say hi. Yes, it's 2:22 in the morning. Oh, really? I just thought I'd call and see how you were doing. Okay, those are the most terrifying women in the world because often they have reasonable jobs. Often they dress nicely, but they never blink when they look at you. They never blink. They always seem to have trouble with their contacts.
Well, I just think the problem I have is that it's gone the opposite. The burden of the proof is now on the guy to prove he didn't do it, even if it's completely unfounded.
Right, which is impossible.
Yeah, which is impossible. No, I didn't rape you. Oh boy, just by saying that, you sound like you raped somebody.
But notice that these guys aren't being accused of rape. They're being accused of incredibly minor crimes, like they made an inappropriate joke, or they said, is that a pickle in your pocket? They just said stupid things. They said stupid guy things, and now it's suddenly inexcusable.
I mean, there are some stories we get, like Matt Lauer, who supposedly
Yeah,
had
they
an
gotta get rid of him.
automatic lock on the door when a woman came in.
Yeah, but
things
I
like
know, and the problem with that story, I know many executives with the automatic lock on the door, and it's not to keep women in, it's just so they don't have to get up to shut their door for privacy. They got a button under their desk to shut the door so that they didn't have to get up, so they'd have privacy. And then it didn't lock them in. It didn't lock anybody in. It would just automatically shut the door.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is even Matt Lauer
Yeah.
was out of a job, out of a very well-paying job. Immediately. And to this day, he's never been tried for anything. He's never been found guilty of anything. There's never even been, I think, a civil suit against him.
No. Same thing with the guy at CBS Morning News.
Charlie Rose. Just gone. That's it. Gone. Career shuttled.
No charges.
And no charges, nothing. Now, is that right? No. And he should have some recourse. And by the way, he should have some recourse against CBS.
And for years, when big companies said, we're going to fire you based on these allegations, the immediate retort was, you can fire me after a trial and I'm found guilty. And then the companies would go, whoa, okay, we're not doing anything.
Listen, I have a friend who was a big deal at CBS. He was CBS vice president, in charge of something big. I won't say who he is.
Don't say.
But he was thrown out by the company because he got accused of using a homophobic slur, I think. And this had been investigated 2 years earlier by CBS, and they decided it didn't happen at all. Okay? And then all of a sudden, somebody brought it up again, and they said, you got to go. And he was out of a job. I'm going to pay him like, $250,000 a year or whatever. But he was a big deal over at CBS. It's that kind of thing. And this is one of the nicest guys you'll ever know. Okay?
But it also goes to another thing, which I discussed with my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taught by our mutual late friend, Lynn Samuels.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn was talking on the air about date rape. And she said, if you invite a guy back to your apartment and you both have some wine and he goes further than you want, it's not nice, but it's not rape. That's what Lynn said.
That's not a bad way of putting it.
And
I think though anything short of absolute permission is improper.
I'm quoting
it's
her.
Not the behavior that I was always. It may have been that I was so shy about things that I would wait for a woman to absolutely say, "Hey, you want to fuck me?" before I would even do it.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I've always behaved that way. But it was interesting that Lynn said that.
Yeah.
She said, "Don't go calling that rape." Because in her mind, rape was a violent surprise act.
And the women who truly get raped, this diminishes them.
It would seem to.
Yeah, and that's what bothered me about the Me Too movement is I felt much of it diminished the women who really had a claim against somebody.
The next wave will be men coming forward and saying, you know what, I was abused by a woman at work. I was abused by a woman at power at work. Because men aren't quite brave enough to do that yet. It's way too humiliating.
Well, but they will also laugh at them because we men are supposed to, and you didn't want to get fucked? They think every guy wants to get fucked. I'll tell you, I tell the story. I've told the story any number of times about the time that I was raped by a woman. Okay? I was depressed because I'd broken up with my girlfriend again. This woman I knew came over. She said, I don't want to drive back to San Jose. I said, well, you can sleep here. And she hopped in the bed, and I hopped in the bed. And I said, I'm very depressed. And in the middle of the night, she started following me. And I said, no, please, I really don't feel like it. Because I'm really depressed over breaking up with my girlfriend, and I don't want to do this. And she just kept going and kept going and kept going. Well, people always said, oh, yeah, sure, you got raped. Well, yes, I did. In the true sense, or not forcibly, but I got raped nonetheless. And it was non-consensual. And yet, as much as I tried to tell people this happened, they all said to me, well, come on, she blew you. What's the big deal?
I totally understand. I've been in situations where a woman really wanted to do it,
mm-hmm.
and I really didn't,
mm-hmm.
and she wouldn't stop. 2 or 3 times, and she wouldn't stop.
Right.
And the only way this was going to stop without her going crazy or getting really angry was to just do it. But it was no fun.
But if you weren't a guy and you were a woman, and she was a guy doing the same exact thing to you, that'd be rape, right?
Yes. So
But nobody wants to believe that a guy doesn't want it all the time. Okay.
that's part of the problem. It's a serious misunderstanding about male sexuality. Because my default mode is not, I want to have sex now. My default mode is, I want to read the New York Post while drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee, while watching TV alone.
Yeah.
That's my default mode.
Yeah.
Now, you want to throw in sex later? I need about an hour's notice.
Right.
It's not, and even young, stupid guys,
You want time to brush your teeth.
at the very least. Young, stupid guys in fraternities, they don't want it all the time either.
Yeah.
And the reason that men cheat in marriage is not for sex. It's for forgiveness. It's for a woman to say, don't worry about where your socks are. It's, you look great today. You're such a good father. It's not about sex. It's about forgiveness. And that's what women are very confused about in male sexuality.
Some people listening to us right now probably will take what we're saying here as condoning somebody like Harvey Weinstein and what he did, and that's not what we're saying.
No, he was an
at all.
asshole. That's an asshole.
Yeah. That's not what we're saying at all. What we're saying is that it's terrible. But nevertheless, there has to be a certain responsibility on the part of the women as well. And this idea that, he had power.
You can't, and then I'll shut up. You can't say, I want to be chairman of the board, unless you accept responsibility for all of your actions in every part of your life.
Well, wait a minute. You fucked him because you thought you might get a part in a movie.
Yeah.
Okay? He used his power to get to seduce you. You then fucked him. At what point do you suddenly become a whore?
Early on.
I mean, at a certain point, you have to be responsible for the action. But if I didn't sleep with him, I wouldn't have gotten the movie part. Well, then if you did sleep with him to get the movie part, that's kind of the definition of a whore.
By the way, what's sad is a lot of those women did sleep with him and got no parts.
That would be a good reason for them to sue him. But I mean, all I'm saying is that to begin with, Harvey Weinstein was a disgusting-looking human being.
Man.
And nobody would want to fuck him if he didn't have power. But what he's guilty of is being ugly, more than anything else. Because as I say again, if it were Paul Newman or George Clooney, even some of these accusations are, well, he patted me on the ass. I think, what was it? Who was it they got on that one? Oh yeah, Al Franken. Supposedly he, in a photograph, had his hand.
He pretended to squeeze somebody's breast.
that was something else. There was another one they accused him of where he had his hand behind in the picture, and the woman said he was grabbing my butt. Well, if it were George Clooney, I will guarantee you she would have never complained about it.
Yes, and that's the part that women owe men to take responsibility for.
Well, on the other hand, we're also talking about situations in which none of these things have been tried in court. Did Al Franken get tried in court? No.
Only one got tried in court. Only one.
Which one?
It's very interesting. The disc jockey accused of squeezing Taylor Swift's butt.
Oh, yeah.
That did go to civil court, and he lost.
And she won, yeah.
And however, I had him on my show, my radio show.
Yeah.
And I said on the air, and I'll say here, I don't believe he did it. And the reason I don't believe he did it, he was a morning man at a country station in Denver, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And he was way at the top of the radio food chain. Mm-hmm. And he knew that Taylor Swift was incredibly powerful and famous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that guy was going to screw up that job by squeezing her butt, you're crazy. There's no way he would risk that job.
And what did he say?
He said, I didn't do it. 1,000 times he said he didn't do it.
So why did he settle?
He didn't settle. He lost and had to give her a buck.
Oh, that was right. Yes, the $1 thing. Yeah.
because she knew it. There was probable
Did he
doubt.
lose his job?
Yes, there was reasonable doubt because the promotion guy was standing right there
Has he
too.
ever gotten a job since then?
In a backwater crappy place, yeah.
Wow. What? It's serious?
No, they couldn't afford him. All right, I gotta go to bed.
They didn't want to pay that kind of money. Anyway, you got to go to bed. This is Walter Sterling. You can hear him on any one of a number of radio stations around the world, practically.
This is some rig. This is fancier than any radio station
Yeah, but,
I've ever been in.
wait a minute. Tell them where they can find you. Yeah.
About 80 radio stations, including WLS in Chicago, WPHT in Philadelphia, KMOX, KADKA in Pittsburgh, KMJ in Fresno, KFBK in Sacramento. About 80 stations throughout the country at 10 p.m. Sunday night Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern to 1 a.m.
And he does it
Eastern.
from his laundry room in his home in
From my
Cleveland.
laundry room.
Yes, and it was a pleasure to do your
Pleasure
show.
pleasure to have you do my show.
And
Thanks for
thank
having
you
me
very
on your
much,
show.
ladies and gentlemen. That is Walter Sterling. Is
Thank
his name. Okay, thank you, Walter.
Thank you.
There he goes. He's going to go out the door. Close the door behind
Yes,
you
sir.
there, so the girlfriend doesn't have to hear all the noise that's going to go on in here. Anyway, listen, folks. I think it's time for me to open up the Skype lines. Okay. I enjoy my discussions with Walter. He's a good guy. Good guy. And over the years has been a very major force in the broadcasting business, I might add. Okay, so we're ready to go. Let me just turn on the lines here so that we can wait for people to call, which will happen, hopefully. I'm tired again today. I don't know why am I tired today, but I wasn't tired last night. I was energized last night, actually. I guess because I took one night off. Anyway, our lines are open. If you don't know how to call, go ahead. Do you know what I just noticed on Skype? They're actually running ads on Skype now. I don't know if anybody notices that, but they are actually running ads on Skype. Did you notice that at all, Charlie? Let me see here. Let me. Oh, well, okay. Well, I did the transition. Okay, I really didn't want to jump like that. I wanted to do it kind of like this, you know, where I actually can like go from me, see that's very gentle, you know. But anyway, hello, Charlie. How are you?
Hi, Alex. Oh, I'm dead tired.
You're moving, and I guess that place is empty right now, right?
Yeah, there's nothing in here except what'll fit in my car.
Really? Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Here comes. Oh, Brian Ludwig, son of a bitch.
Brian, long time. Wow.
Yeah, Brian. Hold on a second. Let me put his picture up here. Let me see here. He would be. Oh, there he is. Okay. Okay, we go. Okay, and here comes Josh Wheeler, and I don't know. Was he in the #1 spot last night? I don't think so, but we'll see. Josh, give us some picture here, Josh. Give us some picture. Okay, and I guess he was in another spot last night. Okay, here comes Phil Meyer. Okay, now wait a minute. Hold on a second. I gotta start bringing these people up. Hold on a second. First, we put Phil Meyer. We'll put him up at the top there. Hold on a second. Scuba diver. There we go. Okay. And then I got to go to the six-pack, which then we'll put in Brian. Here comes Brian. He's that one, I believe. Doesn't exactly use a name, but that's okay. Oh, there. Wait a minute. We got. Well, who do we have? Wait a minute. Who do we have? Oh, well, I guess I gotta put Josh Wheeler in that thing. Okay, so Josh, where are you? There we go, Josh W42. Okay, there we go, and then I can just do this, and ta-da! There we go. Hi, everybody. How are you this evening?
Pretty good.
Brian, we haven't heard from you in a while. Where you been? What's been up with your life?
New job, parameters.
New job?
Yeah.
What kind of new job?
Uh, Bus driving.
Bus driving. Oh, bus driving?
Yes.
I don't know if I could do that. Isn't that a little unwieldy, all those big truck? It's a big bus, right? How big a bus is it?
Perfect. 84, 90 passenger.
84,
Wheels on
90
the bus
passengers?
go round and round.
The wheel on the bus goes round and round. So
One would hope.
don't you feel a great deal of responsibility for the lives of the people in that truck, in that bus?
Of course. But it is what it is.
You have to go out and get a bus driver's license, right?
A passenger endorsement as well as school bus driver's endorsement as well.
Okay, so did you have
Depending on
that?
what you do.
Did you have that before you did this, or is that new?
I did. Actually, I did. Then I thinking I would never do it again. Back in 2015, I let it expire.
Yeah.
And I test into getting it acquired all over again.
Oh, okay. All right. All
But I
right.
knew what I was doing, so it didn't
Yeah.
go home.
Yeah. So anyway, let me see here. So I went and I got a new thing today. I don't know if I can show it here though. No, I don't have enough cord here. I got the newest Echo. Excuse me. What time is it?
The time is 10:46 p.m.
Okay. Anyway, I got this new. We'll call her Alexa. Okay. That is the new small one, and it just fits right here, and it's really nice. But it's not telling me all the things I want to know, like what are my appointments? Echo, what are my appointments coming up? Echo, what are my appointments?
Your next
You don't
call
have
is
any.
on. Alex Bennett's Ramble is in progress and
Echo's
ends at
part cat.
11:55 p.m.
Sorry.
Tomorrow at 12:15
I feel like something out of the
p.m.
Twilight Zone. If it told you.
Okay, Echo, stop,
p.m.
stop. Okay. Anyway, so I got it's cute. It's really adorable. But the thing is, I really, how could I? What would be the term I would use to get it to not display anything? Let's see here. Echo, go to sleep. Let's see what happens. Okay, nothing
About
happens.
unplug Echo.
Echo, wake up.
Alarm for what time?
Alarm for what time? I don't want an alarm, you
There's
cunt.
no alarm set.
Yeah, no alarm set. Okay, all right.
Stop
Anyway,
recording your voice and submitting it to private interests.
yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, so how are you tonight, Phil?
I'm tired. I've had a rough week.
Yeah, because your dog, right?
Yeah. Well, the dog was the major part of it.
How old was it?
Oh, that's right. Oh,
She's
God.
she's 9. She had a burst. She ruptured. She had a tumor. We didn't know. It was very aggressive, very fast growing, and was on her spleen.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunday night, after we got back from Ray Renati's play, which by the way was excellent. He is he's very good.
Oh, of course, I'm sure he is.
Yeah. It was a real pleasure seeing it.
Yeah.
And so we got back from the play, and my dog was kind of a little listless, and but that happens. She gets moods. So about 2 a.m, Faye woke up, and the dog, her chin was on. Actually, when we came home, her neck was bent over. I guess she was internally bleeding. We didn't realize it, and she had lost an awful lot of blood, and it was in her abdomen. So she was, we just figured, okay, we'll take her to the vet in the morning. Well, she got up, and the dog is laying with her chin on her water bowl, listless, couldn't move, no energy. Her tongue was white, her gums were white. Faye got up, rushed her to the ER, and they stabilized her with fluids and so forth. And once she was stable enough, they operated on her and they removed her spleen and the tumor. Unfortunately, the news we got yesterday was that the tumor was malignant, very, very aggressive, and she, at best, could have 2 months left. So, I'm trying to make her as comfortable as possible. Also, spend as much time as possible with her.
Right.
And yeah.
My
So-
sister just had her dog put down of 14 years.
Yeah.
And Lab Aussie mix, and she got a new
Yeah.
one the second day at a shelter. But
I don't think I could ever go through this again.
I don't blame you.
Well, I said that many years ago when I finally had a bunch of cats finally die on me. Not well, you remember them, Phil?
Yeah. One of them, who was the guy from BAM Magazine's brother?
Eric.
Hirokian.
Ero-
Yeah, but it's the brother. Is
Yeah.
it John?
John.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was the one that took your cat to have him euthanized.
You
Because we
think
were
so?
sitting around the table that night. And,
I couldn't do it myself. I just couldn't. You know.
I want to be there.
You want to be there. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. I just, well, I had one die actually in the apartment, lying in the sun. It was very nice.
That's easier.
But,
Much
my cat Shabbos, who was 18 years old and knew more about me than I knew about myself because he saw me every day of my life and saw my intimate moments. When he went, he had to be put down, and I just couldn't do it. I just love this animal so much. And the thing is that I've had parents die, I've had friends die, and I don't think I was as depressed over their death as I was over these animals. And I think this is the truth, that most people, the death of an animal is a greater thing to them than just about any death of a person they know. Yes, Brian.
That reminds me, you mentioned friends and family. I guess your ex-wife or whatever. How is she still among us, or has she?
Oh yeah,
gone?
yeah. She's still hanging in there. Yeah.
All right, that's good.
We have her on every 2 weeks. I think she'll be around for a little while. The thing is that they give you a death sentence, but then it's like life itself. You don't know when. But anyway,
With
what
the
I'm
dog, I don't want her to suffer at all.
Yeah.
When I start seeing, some listlessness,
is
maybe,
she okay right now? I mean, now that she had her operations and stuff.
Yeah, she's got a big scar, and so we've been keeping ice packs on and off of it to keep down the inflammation and to make her comfortable.
Yeah.
But with the stitches, we have to stay with her. Faye will stay, and then she'll go to sleep
Let me
for
ask
a
you a
few
question.
hours.
Let me ask you a question.
We don't want her to take the stitches out.
This is probably a rude question to ask, but I want to ask it.
Never stop jiggle.
Huh? No.
Rude
Well,
question.
it's not rude. It's not rude. It's just the question is simple. How much has this cost you so far?
At this point, 11,000.
11,000?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Although I owe Rob Alfano a debt of gratitude, because several years ago he was talking about his cat and that he had Healthy Paws cat insurance.
Yeah.
They're paying 80%. Now I had to lay out the 11 grand and then submit, which I haven't done yet.
11 grand. Wow. Because my
It's not over.
my business manager had a dog have some problems, and he wound up putting out $5,000. This is almost more expensive than human stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's not the money. I needed. You see, for instance, if she had a tumor or a hematoma maybe that burst, and she had to have the spleen and the tumor removed.
Yeah.
If she didn't have cancer, and I didn't elect to do this operation, I couldn't buy the time
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I needed.
let me just, I'm just trying to get, find him here. There we go, Goomba.
So,
Okay.
so by having,
Oh,
yeah,
listen, I just want to just keep talking. I just got to go for a second. Okay, so you keep
Sure.
talking.
okay, but by having the operation, what that allowed was, it would have been a death sentence if we didn't have the operation. She would have had to been euthanized immediately. But by doing it, then we could find out if she had cancer, and if she didn't have cancer, and I didn't do the operation, it would have been a pity.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah, I've gone through that 3 times. 3 different
I don't know how
vets.
you did it.
I
This
can't
dog,
do it anymore.
this dog's my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I was trying to say earlier, I just had to go make sure that Walter wasn't turning on the air conditioner. Otherwise, we would just lose everything here. That's the bottom line on it. I mean, that's that here you're willing to put out, well, 11,000. If you didn't have the insurance, you'd still put out the 11,000, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that there was a time when, veterinarians were into veterinarianism, or whatever you call it, not for the money, but for the love of animals. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, they're getting what doctors get, for Christ's sake.
Well, I would visit her after the operation.
Yeah.
I'd visit her in the morning. I'd visit her in the afternoon. We left her there for a couple of days because we wanted her under pain meds and to be really stabilized.
Yeah.
And
You mentioned, however, in one of your messages to me that you have an oncologist for her.
Well, they're giving part of this is that they want me to talk to an oncologist about chemo, and I've decided that there's no way I'm going to put her through that. There's no way that I'm going to just extend her life for me and have her suffer.
Yeah.
So, but I got questions. And so I'll talk to the oncologist. Matter of fact, it's tomorrow morning, and I'll talk to them, and I will ask questions and understand what to look for, and make sure that I make the decision before they're suffering.
Yeah. Wow. Well, sorry to hear about it.
Thanks.
And
You never know. I mean, my brother-in-law, the golf course superintendent, he had his lab that, was like the dog that went to work with him every day and ran around everywhere he went and everything. When that dog was like 15, it developed some sort of tumor like that ruptured. And they did some surgery. It wasn't nearly as serious as that, so it cost him a little bit, like not nearly that much, like $2,000. And they took it out and gave him the news, and they said, well, if you don't do anything at all, she'll probably live 3 or 4 months, or you can do this, that, and the other, and she might live 7 or 8 months. So he didn't do anything because, the dog was like 15 years old and he didn't want her to suffer. But, she lived 2 more years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
but it was a good 2 years. It wasn't like she was suffering all the time. She lived for 2 years fine, and then one day just fell over and died.
well,
I mean,
the cancer.
wait, hold
she
on a second.
has
Before I
is
go on any
the
further,
worst.
who's crying? What baby is crying? I'm hearing a baby crying.
Not me.
Yeah. So anyway, the one that she has is the worst. It's so aggressive. What'll happen is she'll either bleed to death internally, or she'll suffocate because it acts on the lungs, and I'm just not going to go there. I'm not going to allow that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at having a vet come to the house
Yeah.
and euthanize her here in her bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You can do that. That's helpful.
Well, it's it's very sad. I feel very bad for you.
But I mean, he's right in the fact that it's, at the end of the day, it's not that much different than people. I mean, they don't know.
Right.
No,
No one
they
knows
live in the
day you're
present.
gonna go.
Yeah, they live in the present. You know?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they just take the information they have and give you a judgment, but that doesn't mean, it's good or it's bad. I mean, we've been through this before. I mean, I don't want to bore everybody with it, but we've been through this before with our cats, and we've basically ran like a cat rescuing operation. I mean, we have had so many in the time that my wife and I have been together that we've taken care of, and obviously, when you have them for a long time, they eventually get sick and die. I mean, they're just like people. So we've been through kidney disease, and we've been through heart disease. I mean, we've been through everything.
But I
We've
think
had,
I feel like Phil does. When my
Yeah.
cats died, I don't think I ever got another cat again. For
yeah,
exactly,
we have. I mean,
you know.
Well, you had another cat at the
Yeah.
time.
No, I had several cats, and
We
once,
had Mouse at the
well,
time. Shabbos.
Mouse was the last one to survive, and when she died, I never got another animal.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason is that I was getting older to begin with, but right now I wouldn't get a cat because I'm afraid that what happened. Ray's frozen now. What happened?
Yeah.
Ray had some noise in the background and signed off, I think.
Oh, what was that? All the screaming and the crying and
I think
the,
it must be.
Looks like he's in IKEA.
who knows? But I mean, I wish you wouldn't just hang up like that.
Yeah. Well, something else happened on the way home.
Mhm.
So I see Ray's play, and on the way to Ray's play,
Mhm.
there was a 6-car accident, and I was the last car to get hit. I didn't hit the guy in front of me. I got rear-ended. An Uber driver, the traffic stopped. I stopped. The guy behind me stopped. The guy 3 more cars back was doing 55, looking at his phone,
Yes.
and slammed into all of us.
Oh wow.
Hey, Alex.
So,
Sorry I hung up. I was trying to turn off my mic and I hung up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was the baby here where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so then you also had there was an automobile thing that went on.
right.
Too.
So my rear bumper is smashed, and but I made it to Ray's play in time. I wasn't late. 4 minutes to spare, and so saw the play, saw Ray, and then went back to the dog stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so it's
Yeah.
been, and last night, because we're I'll sleep for a few hours and make sure that she doesn't rip out her stitches. I don't want to put the cone on her. She's only got a short time to live, and the last thing I want is the cone around her neck. I'd rather stay up, watch her, put an ice pack on her to make her comfortable, and and we do it in shifts.
Okay,
so
well,
I told Faye not to work
okay.
anymore.
Okay, we've depressed people enough as it is here with that. Let me see here. What else is there to talk about? Now we've lost Ray
Well,
again.
I don't know. We can talk about death, euthanasia. I mean, you've been talking to your ex-wife for a while. You're an expert on the subject.
I'm not an expert on the subject.
Well, more so than most.
Well, it's difficult for me. With her. I mean, it's that's a situation which. Why do the lights keep flicking around here? What is the problem? Jeez almighty.
Did they start Old Sparky up in Ossining again?
I don't know what the story is because
That's the electric chair at Sing Sing.
Yeah, no, well, let me turn off the air conditioner and let me see what happens here if they still flicker. That's why I got up and went and turned this one down because I figured it was right on the edge. Now, something I got to tell you, Ray, can I be very honest about something? That's very annoying. I mean, we're trying to do a show here, and we're doing video, and you're off and on, and you're sideways, and you're.
No, Alex, it's not me. It's Skype. I'll just hang up. I mean, I can't help the thing. Skype sucks.
Well, I mean, it's just that it's difficult. It's very difficult for the audience to have to see stuff going on and off and up and down and everything. If you can, call us from some place that's stationary. we were getting a good Skype signal. I don't know that it was Skype's problem. I just think that you weren't exactly knowing how to turn off the audio.
It's hard on a phone when you're walking around.
Well, yeah.
And unless you got a steady cam like you do, it jumps up and down a lot.
No, but also you've got problems with just turning it on and off and things like that.
Yeah.
By the way, I got the new iPhone program.
Got an 11?
Yeah, the new. It's now they now have dark mode. If you can see that, folks. It's dark mode.
Huh.
And I can go into a non-dark mode too. But
what does that? What does that mean? That you go to the other side, you become a Republican?
Yeah, you go to the dark side. Yeah. Yeah, no, somehow dark seems to be the new thing everybody wants on computers. I use the dark mode on my Mojave here, so it's kind of it's annoying.
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, what it is, how do I explain it? I guess you don't have a Mac, do you?
Charlie's been in dark mode all his life.
Well, just one more way we're sticking it to black people, man. That's all.
It's true. Let's see here.
Bro.
I got to get Charlie, get Patrick on here. Wait a minute. Hold on a second, Patrick. I'm gonna find you. You're let's see here. You're gonna be Darth Pat. There we go. And
you hear that, Patrick? He's going to find you. He knows where you live.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my underwear off, and then he can find me.
Yeah. No, dark mode is. You know what dark mode is, right, Patrick? Because you've got a Mac.
Yeah.
And do you have Mojave?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what the dark mode is?
It's almost like reversing everything else.
Well, all the stuff that was once light and white and so on is now dark. Yeah. And so you're working against a dark background a lot. And
what do they call that in photography? Plasticized?
No, I don't know what it is, but it is kind of annoying in its own strange way. But like I have a program I use here called Quick and Easy. What's the name of it? Quick and Easy, whatever. It's what I do the website with, and they just they have dark mode now, and I went to, and it's dark, and I don't want to use dark mode because I'm used to using light mode with that, but there's nowhere in there to turn it off of dark mode. I've been spending days trying to figure out where, and I can't figure it out.
Ask Siri.
Yeah.
Or go on Google.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Echo, what is dark mode?
Right on dark color scheme, also called dark mode, dark theme or night mode, is a color scheme that uses light-colored text, icons, and graphical user interface elements on a dark background and is often discussed in terms of computer user interface design and web design.
See? These lights have been flickering all night. I expect the electricity to go out any minute now. I don't know what.
Didn't they close the Indian Point nuclear plant?
It could be. I don't know. But I mean, all of a sudden, I'm not. And it has nothing to do with the air conditioner, so I'm going to turn it back on. But no, my lights are flickering, and I have no idea why. I mean, it doesn't seem to be affecting the equipment at all. But anyway. So let me see here. What is there? So I got this new Alexa. I'll call it that, so she doesn't react. And it's like a little. It's about like this big. And the reason I bought it was they're $99, and Amazon said if you buy one today, you get it for $69.95. How could I fail? Right. So now every room in my house has some kind of Alexa type thing.
Have you tied them all together?
They're all together. Yeah, sure, they're tied together.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, they all work off the same thing. There goes the thing. The air conditioner did it that time. I don't know what's happening tonight.
Do you know something must be going right? There's almost no lag between the YouTube and the Skype.
No lag between the YouTube and the Skype?
Maybe a second.
Oh, no, it can't be that way.
I'm looking at the picture and I'm listening to what you're saying.
Well, I don't know what you're doing.
You're right.
Wait a minute, I put my hands up like this and I'm looking at it and my hands aren't going right up, so.
Well, your mouth is moving in sync to the words within a second.
Then you may be looking at something else. I don't know, but it's not the same situation here. You know,
yeah.
So.
Oh, Phil's in sync.
But there you go, taking us off target by going to technical stuff.
I thought you'd be happy to know that it's working well.
No, it really isn't. I'm sorry. It may be for you. I don't know how.
Oh, I got the faster internet now.
No, that has nothing to do with it.
No,
that has nothing to do with it. The lag exists because the lag exists. The signal's going out to YouTube, and then YouTube is like playing around with it for a little bit, and then spitting it out.
Huh.
Okay, and
yeah.
Let me
okay.
see.
Well,
wait a minute. Hold on a second. I will give you the finger.
Yeah.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10 seconds. So I don't know.
I just saw the finger on the YouTube.
Okay, so it was 10. It was longer than 10 seconds for you.
Well, seemed pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, so I suppose you have an excuse for our president, right?
The guy who's falsely accusing him
well, no, wait a minute.
of giving information
to
some foreign government.
You're faking the news. He didn't.
No, I think the anonymous guy is faking the news.
No. He didn't. You're saying that you're assuming that he's falsifying the information. You're spreading that. No, but there's no proof that he's falsifying it. There's no proof that he's telling the truth. We're still in the discovery phase.
How about you're innocent until proven guilty?
In the case of Donald Trump, fuck it. Let's hang him by the balls right now, although we'd have a hard time finding them. All right? But no, I mean, the fact is that it looks like he may have done something that endangered the country.
Well, he's certainly doing a good job with Iran.
Everybody
was afraid he was going to get us into a war.
Don't change the subject. You're moving us off topic. You always that's what you do. You always answer. What is that? What is that noise? Oh, God. See, my lights just flashed again. I have no idea what. So what was that noise about? Anybody know?
Getting raided by aliens.
Oh Jesus, this is. I'm waiting for the lights to go out. But I just saw that they even flashed on screen. I have no idea what's happening with the electricity. There should be nothing happening here because I don't have anything on that isn't normally on. Oh, here comes Tony. Let's see here.
You gotta change your screen.
Huh?
You gotta change your screen now.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, Phil. Hold on. Let me see here. Let me see. Tony Quisp. He'd be down at the bottom. He always comes in down at the bottom. Let me see here. 7. Okay. Wait a minute. Where is he? Come here, Tony. Oh boy. I just clicked on him, and now I'll click on him again. Let's see if it happens. Oh, there we go. There's Tony. Okay, there we go, folks. There's Tony. Okay, hi, Tony.
Good. How you doing?
No, but anyway, I mean, Josh, you've heard a little bit about this, haven't you? This whole kerfuffle with the president and the fact that he was perhaps doing some things on the phone with foreign leaders that might have put this country in jeopardy. Josh? Can Josh hear me?
Josh is having issues with audio and visual with Skype.
So Ray was right.
No, his was different. He just couldn't find the mute button properly. See, when
And
you try
Skype won't even quit on him. He's trying to quit Skype and it won't quit.
well, who? Who's trying to quit Skype?
Josh, he's trying to quit it so he can restart.
Mm-hmm.
And he's messaging me that it won't.
He can't even get it to restart. Now here comes Ray Renati. Let's see here if we got Ray again, and let's see if we have him in a decent mode here. Let me see here. Let me bring him in on. Let's see here. Ray Renati would be Goomba 61. There we go. And then I have to turn that on, and then we go boom, and there he is. And you're in your car. There you go.
Yeah, so it's not me. It's like I'm pressing the button and it's not doing anything. So I mean, I know how to use this stuff. It's like I'm pressed the mute button and nothing happens.
Josh is having a problem that way. You having a problem, Josh? Nod your head if you're having a problem, or is he frozen?
He can't hear you. He can't anything.
He's not frozen.
Yeah, so he's trying to fix whatever it is with Skype.
Well, don't worry, folks, because the lights are going to go out any minute here. So you know.
It's Skype. It's Skype. It's just completely screwing up. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I know how to use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some things don't change.
Well, look, we're one person short of a full house, and now that we have so many people watch, nothing will happen.
Has Renee or any of them called in?
No.
Renee never calls anymore.
Renee never calls in anymore. She hasn't called in for 3/4 of a year.
Yeah, I just the other day I decided to look. I found her address, not a phone number. I was going to send her a card and ask her if she's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, this is Josh Wheeler left, so maybe he'll sign back in.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. So anyway, so I mean, so anyway, we had that going on with the president. What else? You know what? You know what's getting me? This whole every time there's a death from somebody vaping, it's like a big headline on the news. We're now up to 9 people who have died vaping. How many people?
Yeah, but over 500 are injured, and many of them are in the hospital.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
It's ridiculous.
How many people in the country are vaping?
Who cares? Let them smoke.
Millions.
Millions.
550?
Millions.
How
So
about all
if-
the people dying from cigarettes
So
every
if
day?
500 people got sick, there's a question to be asked. You know?
Yeah, there's obviously something going on. I mean, right now it's 500. But,
No, but I don't think there is.
and-
I don't think it's. I don't think it's necessarily the vape pipes. Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's whatever they're putting in them, which
yeah,
in many
most
cases
have been flavored vapes, and I think that because they can inhale such a great amount without feeling overwhelmed, I think that they're overwhelming their lungs.
I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that it is whatever they're putting in the vape material. In other words, the stuff that's being used, the cartridges that are being used. A lot of these are being made in, home labs
China.
and places like. No, not China. Forget China.
You think it's laced?
Yes, Patrick.
Made right here in the good old state of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Oh, is that where Juul comes from?
No, they did a major bust. They had 2 brothers, I believe 18 and 20,
Yeah.
who were doing their own mythology shit in these vape cartridges.
Okay.
And they busted them, and they had $350,000 cash on them at the court.
Oh wow.
To buy THC, and then back home here in the state, they were renting a condo they had empty vape cartridges, and they've been packaging them and selling them. So it's been a big operation right out of here, not out of China. So.
Yeah. Yes, Ray.
Yeah, I wanted to corroborate what Patrick just said there. I read that most of these casualties are in areas where there's some legality problems and people buy it off the street, or from people who are doing their own formulations, like Patrick said. But if you buy it from like reputable vape companies, I don't think it's been an issue.
Well, they're going after the vape people like Juul, who is the biggest manufacturer of these things. And I don't know if they're responsible for anything.
I don't think they are. I think it's the street stuff.
It could be. I mean, look, I use a vape for pot.
Me too.
Okay. And I have to say that I don't. It kind of is rough on the lungs. But then again, I don't know if it's any rougher than pot was.
Well, I have to say that, like, if I use a vape for marijuana, I don't feel very good. But if I smoke it regularly, it feels fine.
Yeah.
So it does do something weird to the plant.
Yeah.
That's not that great, I don't think.
Yeah, well,
and I think they're going to figure it out eventually if there is an issue with it.
Well,
I don't know that it's.
I just think that going after the vaping industry itself is perhaps the wrong place to be going with this.
The reason I think that there's too much vape in each drag is, in the lungs there's something called cilia, and those are these little hairs that tells the brain that you need oxygen and you need to take a breath. And if it's affecting that, you can hyperventilate because even though you're getting air, you don't think you're getting air, and you could damage your lungs.
So there's a central nervous system.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Well, by the way, let me see here. I got. Oops, no, that's not what I want. Hold on a second. I need.
Hey, Alex,
we have a full house.
I called back because I just wanted to let you know it was my frickin' Skype.
Yeah,
I got to go to my son's birthday party, so I just wanted.
Oh, okay. Well, we were almost going to have a full house, but now we won't.
Yeah, well, I gotta go. I gotta go to his birthday, and I don't want to do this while I'm driving because I might screw up again.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, fine.
Right.
Talk to you later.
Right.
Thanks for calling back.
Later.
Bye. Okay. Let me see here. Let me put Kevin on here. He'll take up the space that was just taken up by, let's see, Hog Rider. There he is. Okay, and there we go. There's Hog Rider. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, Alex. Hey, everybody.
Do you have any feelings about this vaping thing?
Not really. I just hear that everybody's dropping dead from it. They make it. They're making a big thing about it.
Yeah.
They make it sound like everybody's dropping dead, but what's it been, 8 or 9 people?
About
dead, but over 500 injured, and some of them are they can't even tell you what they had.
Yes, but you know something? None of this has been totally confirmed. It's not like people are able to sit here and say, "Oh, this is what's wrong with it. This is what's doing it."
Kind of like the guy that accused Trump.
They're trying
Why do you change the subject?
Well, you said it's not totally confirmed. I told you that your story earlier was hogwash.
No, but you don't know. But you don't know that it's hogwash. That's what I'm saying.
But you don't know that it's true.
That's why. But I'm just bringing it up.
And you're trying to insinuate.
By the way, your asshole in Israel didn't do very well, did he?
It's a 50-50, isn't it? So I think that the president of Israel gives each one of them a chance to 2 weeks to form a coalition, and so each one has their chance.
What is this, Prime Minister Idol?
No, it's no. There's also a president, and it's a guy I never heard of, but he's the one that will decide, which one goes first to try to establish.
Well, the thing is that Netanyahu doesn't want to lose this because then he's going to get put on trial.
Yeah, for taking cigars.
Oh, is that it?
Scotch and cigars. That's what they're accusing him of.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm sure it's that innocent.
Is.
They often go to that much trouble to indict somebody for scotch and cigars.
They wouldn't have done it if he was vaping.
Oh boy.
Very cheap.
Anyway, where were we? I'm just worried the lights are going to go out
Kevin frozen?
now. What?
Kevin?
Kevin, are you
No,
there?
he's-
No,
Hello?
Kevin's not frozen.
Oh.
Kevin's
Oh,
just
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Brian.
Yes.
Yes.
Two things. One is regarding Mr. Netanyahu.
Mhm.
It's not. I don't know if it's a case of prime minister idol, as you eloquently put it there, Alex, so much as it is a parliamentary style of governance that I so wish we had in this country. And secondly, regarding the vape issue, all I have to say is selective outrage is fun, is it not? Especially when it can be capitalized upon our corporately owned media, perpetuated by big tobacco, and monetized upon.
You think Big Tobacco's behind a lot of this with the vaping?
They probably
So,
cut-
yeah, they're a competitor, aren't they? And
Well,
they're more storied,
uh,
established, and have been around the block a lot longer than the vaping industry has.
Well, there
competitors. They're not.
is vape tobacco. Now the question is, are the major tobacco companies involved in those vape cartridges?
And also, there's vape pens. There, a lot of those deaths are from modified illegally or, black market shit modified vaping pens that aren't what you buy from a store.
Yeah. Yes, Phil.
Do you think that the vaping industry is going after youth with the flavored vapes like bubble gum and the other? I never had it, but
No more than
you know,
McDonald's is. No more
Yeah.
than Burger King is. No
Yeah,
more
but-
than the no more than Camel cigarettes has been. But it's the parents' responsibility, and it's those who are, if you were talking about minors, it's those who are majors, the parents and the guardians' responsibility to make sure that those little bastards don't get them. Not my responsibility not to have access to them, because I know quite a few grown-ass men and women who don't mind smoking a bubblegum flavored vape pen. Most of them are in their 20s, but as far as last time I checked, 18 and over, you're still a grown-ass adult, are you not? If you have hair on your nuts and on your snatch, you are still an adult.
how old do
And
you
there-
have to
and
be
there
to
are
buy
parents-
tobacco?
There are parents out there that let their kids smoke the shit because they think it's better than cigarettes and they can smoke their little bubblegum shit.
That's
How
on them.
old-
That's
how
not my
old do you
concern.
Yeah.
How old
the
do you have
parents
to
are
be to smoke tobacco?
Is it 18 or no?
18? Well, 18 in California.
I heard they're trying to raise it to 21 though. With
Yeah.
Mitch
Yeah, they're
McConnell
trying to. It's
actually
all
of
over the place, but they're supposed to go to 21. Yeah.
Mitch
You know
the
what that
Pitch
means?
McConnell.
And here locally, they're trying to ban it altogether. Any kind of flavored tobacco at all locally.
Yeah, that won't create a black market. Just as
no.
Al Capone and.
Oh,
Yeah,
they'd
no
love-
shit. It'll raise up the price and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be putting their bets in and say, "Do me a favor, give me a pack of Camels when you drop them off." Forget
Be like
it.
Jimmy Conway and Goodfellas.
What-
basically.
what-
Pop
I'll
up
take the
with
Jets
vape.
and I need a carton of cigarettes. All right.
They ought to have fentanyl
Break your
flavored
legs.
vape.
Yeah, but the situation is with what do you call it? With these the flavored things. I don't like the pot thing. I don't like the flavored pot.
Is there flavored pot?
Yeah, these things have flavor to them. They're
Yeah,
done by a
but
major
there's a
company.
market
I mean, the people who make the vape pens also make the cartridges. So it's but we said when the person who was supplying us with this stuff, can you just send them some non-flavored pot? And they don't have non-flavored.
With these cartridges, how long will it be until Hewlett Packard starts making cartridges that are vape flavored?
Oh shit! Nintendo started off as a
Shaking
trading
you,
card
get some more.
company,
All right.
playing cards. Sega started off making joke books and shit and publications until they moved into the video. They both moved into the video game industry. So just because if it's Hewlett Packard, it would not be unprecedented. It would be a little unusual, but certainly not unprecedented.
Well, instead of putting toner in it, they just put vape
You know what? You know what I don't get.
Why
really?
the fuck not?
They should just legalize everything. Really.
Exactly.
I mean, you could just legalize the pot. It's legal to sell the vape. I mean, you know what? I think you should just legalize everything.
Legalize pot, legalize heroin, legalize
just tax the shit out of it. At least the basic stuff.
Well,
and
I
maybe make.
I got to tell you something though.
At least
it seems to me as though the news people have gone ape shit over this story on the vaping, and it's like we're up to 6 people tonight. What? 6 people
Alex,
are
I
dead.
got
How
2
many
words
people
for you.
vape? What?
Can I? And the guy's probably smoking a pack of cigarettes out. So he should be smoking while he's telling the story because it's the cigarettes. You can't just listen. Vape's dangerous, but hold on, let me light up again. I mean, come on, it's so stupid. Like you're right, Alex. Well,
Yeah, I think what would be good is if all these kids would go back to smoking, you know.
And nobody will say nothing.
Yeah, go back. Kids should go back to smoking, and forget about vaping. In fact, isn't this what they're trying to tell kids? Is go back to vaping? I mean, go back to cigarettes. Vaping's bad for you. Oh, look at that wallpaper! My God.
Here's 3 things, Alex. One is, or 2 things. One is, in answer to your question about these media people that go ape shit over, vaping and the controversy surrounding it. They're media whores. Those are my 2 words to describe them. Media whores. And 2, well, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, you know what gets me is the fact that the news people have a tendency to overemphasize things that aren't news. Like, you've got a half hour of news at 6:30. It's a precious half hour in which every minute counts to give us some stuff we should know about. And all of a sudden, they're telling you a story about a plane. This was tonight. A plane that was diverted and dropped 30,000 feet within 2 minutes. 30,000. This is not a lot, oddly enough, but 30,000 feet in 2 minutes, and how the oxygen mask came down, and everything, and then the plane landed safely on the tarmac. And you're going, okay, now if it crashed, then it's a story, but it didn't crash. So how is this a story that they're spending 3 minutes on in the middle of the half-hour newscast?
Have you heard in the news today, Colt Industries, which makes the AR-15, has stopped manufacturing the Colt AR-15 long gun? They're only going to manufacture for military. I haven't heard that much in the news. 1 or 2 mentions here and there. But that's probably a big story.
I think that's a fairly big story. I think that certainly should have been there instead of the story about the plane that went down 30,000 feet but landed safely on the tarmac. I mean, if there was a fiery blaze, I'd say okay, not that I'm wishing for that. But I mean, I say to myself, you got a half hour here and you just wasted 3 minutes on a plane that didn't crash.
Well, Alex, you would wish that to happen if that plane were populated by people you worked with in Miami, would you not?
Well, I wouldn't be crying. Oh, by the way,
pay attention.
They're now going after the guys who own Phil's boat, the one that Phil went on.
Oh yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know his story.
Truth Aquatics is the company that owned the 3 boats, the Vision,
okay.
I just my mind went blank. Conception, and I've been on 2 of the 3 boats, and the Conception 3 times over the last 8 years for a total of 10 nights, and those guys. They were very safety oriented.
Well, according to what the police have found, they were in so many different violations. It was ridiculous.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Now,
Who's on that boat?
I think the biggest violation is that they're saying that the person that was supposed to be on watch was asleep.
Oh,
No,
shit.
supposedly the biggest violation was there wasn't a fast and easy exit out of the bottom of that boat, and there were way too many people on there. And and of course it probably did start, as you said, from batteries that exploded. But they should have been able to get out of there, but they weren't able to.
Well, if they didn't get killed by smoke inhalation, and the person who was on watch saw that there was the beginnings of a fire, they could have gotten the fire extinguisher and put it out.
You coulda, woulda, shoulda. You
Didn't they
know,
have a
the
smoke
point
detector
is,
on it?
if you got some
They
guy who's
did.
asleep, it's still your fucking boat. You're running the company that
Yeah,
is
he'd have
not
you up.
running it properly.
Mhm.
And if he didn't fall asleep, they'd probably be alive.
Probably.
No,
The one
they,
to get paid for, he's sleeping on the job, this guy.
no, they might all be dead anyway. Because getting out of there supposedly was
Because how you gonna get out? You're
very
right.
difficult.
34 people. Whenever we rented chartered the boat,
Head.
we limited to 15.
15 at the max?
Yeah. But
yeah,
you know, there was
it's a
more.
pretty packed boat if it's 34 people from what I saw in the pictures. That's pretty packed.
We all had underwater camera equipment, and some guys had movie making equipment, and we needed extra bunks just to store our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't limit it, and it was all photographers.
But there's two hatches, right? One was an emergency hatch in the front, and then one the regular place they go down, right?
There's a set of stairs that go up, and the stairs are narrow, but they were wide enough for two people to pass. I think that they were all dead before the fire hit them. I believe that what they said was they died from smoke inhalation, and then they burned.
I would think, because if those things were all lined up on a bed or on some piece of furniture or something, and then they probably smoldered.
No, there's on the sides in the salon. There's like benches that have a cushion on it, and we usually took our. There was several plugs, and I had a what do they call those strips that you
the
plug strip?
surge protectors. Yeah.
Surge protector. So you'd plug into that, and then I had you know, my stuff for charging batteries and charging all different kinds of batteries, phone. And
Then
so,
most likely that circuit was probably overloaded, and it was just smoking wires that were burning.
you know, I would tend to
Because
think
they
that
said that
inexpensive
the boats
Chinese
were older.
batteries.
The boats
Well,
were older, and they probably had older wiring and probably couldn't take that kind of a load.
Well, you know, we had a lot of batteries on those boats and charging, and we didn't have a problem.
Anyway, you know who we haven't heard from tonight that much? Charlie, who is about ready to leave to go to back to Texas.
Oh yeah, you want to see
Falling
that?
asleep. I'm so tired.
You
Better bring a boat with you, Charlie. It's raining like hell down there.
That's what I hear. Just in time for me to get there.
Yeah, Houston is underwater again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it was Walter that was telling me that part of the problem with Houston is that there are no sewers. Is that correct for the water runoff to go into?
Yeah, you know who?
Wait, hold on a second. I asked Charlie here. What? Charlie? Do you know anything?
I lived in Austin. That sounds familiar, but I can't swear to it.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
Jack Bishop was talking about that, and what he said was that they started building out in areas that shouldn't have been built on as they continued to
because
expand
the
the
city
city.
grew, and that was below sea level.
Right.
Yeah,
Not, I don't know below sea level, but what was happening was the water table couldn't drain.
Well, Brian has his hand up. Brian?
I just want to know one thing concerning Houston and this flooding issue that's once again pervading the current events. I wonder what humanitarian efforts Joel Osteen will lead this year as he did 2 years ago. Is he still going to board up his church and eat his wife's sweet ass, as I read on the meme once from before?
Joel Osteen, who has this great mega church, which is huge, refused to take any people in from the storm when they had that big flood in Houston. And then when he got a lot of heat for it, he started taking some people in. But basically, he wouldn't let them into his mega church, and he could have rescued a lot of people.
No, there was a stipulation. You need to have a check of $500 or more. Then you come on in.
Yeah,
dirty.
Yeah. Yes, Patrick.
Yeah, but if he would have let those people in, they would have dirtied the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look what those guys did in New Orleans, right at the Dome there, man. They turned it into a shithole. because they had to get in out of the flood.
They were practicing moving to San Francisco.
Yeah, but oh boy.
What did you think they're going to do? Steal the statue of baby Jesus, for Christ's sake? Let him in.
Yeah.
He's got to be a horrible person.
By the way,
to be
my
in
wife can't stand Joel Osteen so
Oh,
much
but
so.
he looks like a horrible person.
Well, on
Like he's
Sunday,
overcompensating. And you know what else?
Well,
One
wait.
more thing.
I was going to
I'd
say.
like to know anybody if anybody in the gay community is listening to this in Houston, because if you find him in a bathhouse somewhere, take a picture. I'm sure some of us would pay top dollar to see that exposed motherfucker, because I wouldn't be one bit surprised.
You want to hear the stupidest people? You want to hear about the stupidest people on the planet? Sirius XM has a Joel Osteen channel. Now, if I were running Sirius and Joel Osteen wanted to have a Joel Osteen channel, I'd say, how much you going to pay us? Right? Of course, we're not going to pay anything for it. If you want to do it, we'll give you the channel. That would be one of my two answers. They're paying him They're paying him $1 million a year for that channel to be on.
Wow.
Are you ready for that? $1 million
you have
fucking
a Marianne
dollars a
Williams
year.
channel.
What?
She
A
get the
Marianne
fuck-
Williams.
$1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million buys a lot of sandbags.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
Did you hear
but-
Marianne
but-
Williams on a hot mic?
Who's that?
She's running for Democratic
Marianne Williams.
nomination.
Williamson.
Goldstein talk.
Williamson, yeah. She was on a hot mic, and it was at the Fox Studios.
Yeah.
And she said that the people at Fox treated her a lot better than the Democrats.
Well, they treat you. I got to tell you, they treat you very nicely over at Fox.
Alex, I used to watch your show when you were on Tucker. I remember in the afternoon. He was nice.
No, that was MSNBC.
Oh, were you on Fox? Who you on in the afternoon? Remember who was the show you on in the afternoon? Used to have you on.
That was Tucker Carlson when he was at MSNBC.
Sorry. He was good, I thought, Tucker, with you.
Yeah, he was nice. He treated me fine. But the people over at Fox, every time I went to Fox, they treated you really well. They're a very professional outfit. You know?
What did you do when you went to Fox?
Just, they brought me over there as a guest to make comments from the leftist point of view. And I did it on a couple of occasions. Every time I went over there, I was treated very nicely.
Did you get to sit on the couch?
Well, one time I was in the makeup chair. I was in the makeup chair, and this woman said, "What show are you going to be on?" And I said, "This show, that show, whatever." And she says, "Oh, okay. Where are you politically?" I said, "I'm to the left." She said, "Good luck."
How did it work out?
Yeah.
But they treated me
it's-
very well. What?
I miss Alan Combs because they used to do the spot like him. Remember, they used to beat up Alan on TV. He took it good though, Alan Combs too, like you did. Yeah. Did you ever get mad when you had to hold your
Whatever
tongue?
happened to Alan?
He died.
Oh,
I miss him.
Yeah.
But Alex, did you ever get
He
mad if
didn't
they
take
pushed
it that well.
Well, they used to beat him up too, but he had a good sense of humor. It looked like.
yeah. Well, it wasn't that he had a good sense of humor. Alan was really well paid. And he when he was no longer on with Hannity anymore, they still they put him on the radio channel. They kept him on as a paid, pundit to do various shows. They were very good to him.
When they stopped Hannity and Combs and made it Hannity, that's got to be the dumbest goddamn decision they ever made.
Well, for whatever reason they did it, they still treated Alan very well. And Alan always said that, hey, he had a job there. Believe it or not, he was there for almost 20 years, something like that, before he died.
You know what else? I miss Crossfire. Talking about old shows, old political shows. Crossfire on CNN.
Well, old political shows, that goes back 20. That went off the air 20 years ago.
Well, no, Crossfire went off the air shortly after 2004.
No, way before that.
That's the guy that would say bye-bye.
Paul Begala, it had James Carville, and it had Robert Novak.
Oh, no, the guy who said bye-bye, that was the what do you call it, report?
Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah. I'm trying to remember his name now, because I have a hard time remembering names. So, what the fuck?
But that was Crossfire with those 4 hosts that I remember because I know it's been on the air for a long time. But other hosts.
At one point,
Pat Buchanan used to be a host as well on there.
Well, one time it was Pat Buchanan. Another time Tucker Carlson was on there during his bow tie period.
Yeah.
But no, they treat you fine over at Fox. I can't complain about that. But anyway, delicious. So let's see. We talked about vaping. What else? What else is there? A couple other things in the news, and I'm trying to remember now.
Have you seen this Rudy Giuliani story from tonight? This interview?
No. What? Tell us. Cuomo? Tell us about it.
I didn't see it. I just been kind of reading a little bit about it. Apparently, he went on CNN and acted even fucking crazier than he normally does. I don't know.
He gave it to Cuomo. He called him a few names. He called him fake. And, he told Cuomo what he needed to be told from the right wing's perspective.
Well, there's been, I've heard for a long time, and then I only found out about it because this tweet from Elise Jordan, who's usually on MSNBC in the morning. And by the way, Elise Jordan is a pretty staunch Republican. She's been a Republican analyst and worked in 2 Republican White Houses for a long time. So she just put this. The only reason I even started looking into it was because she put out something 2 hours ago that said, if Rudy Giuliani's family truly loves him, they will get him help now, not tomorrow, now. And that's because I had heard for a while that he starts drinking about 9 o'clock in the morning, and by the time he goes on TV at 9 o'clock at night, he is pretty fucked up.
Who is this?
That is why he acts.
He's talking about Rudy.
On a regular basis.
Skeletor.
You're talking about Rudy Giuliani?
Yes.
Oh, so that if he has something he's doing on TV at that time.
There have been, no one will really come out and say it, but they kind of dance around it on that morning show all the time, that he's an alcoholic. He's been an alcoholic for a long time. It's ruining his life. It's ruining the lives of his family, and no one can seem to get him to stop, and it's only a matter of time before he, gets himself in a fucking real train wreck that he can't get out of. In other words, he kills somebody. So, I don't know if it's true. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but, I don't understand. That still doesn't excuse his actions, because I know a lot of assholes are alcoholic. Non-assholes are alcoholics. I know some very nice alcoholics.
Both sides. It was Cuomo going after him, Giuliani going after Cuomo. Neither one of them wanted to back down. And it was a 28-minute exchange.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I just happened to see her tweet and was like, wow, he must have done something even more out of the ordinary.
Here's what I know about Cuomo, is that Giuliani, is that I was watching an old episode of Seinfeld the other night, and it was the yogurt episode. Do you remember the yogurt episode?
Yes.
Where they ate the episode, and what happened was they filmed it, when Giuliani was running against Dinkins, and they actually filmed 2 endings, one with Dinkins and one with Giuliani, and Giuliani was on that show, and a much younger Giuliani, not full head of hair actually at that point.
Isn't that the yogurt that was supposed to not make them gain weight?
That's right. That's right. And they gained weight.
But I thought I read a few days ago about, this is maybe 3 or 4 days ago, the headline, and I just see these headlines, but I don't read these stories because it really doesn't matter. It's not my business. But I think he's getting divorced again. Is that correct? Like, this is like his 3rd or his 4th divorce or whatever, and so it must probably have something to do with.
Didn't he lose his prostate?
No.
Who, Rudy? No.
Oh, he had prostate cancer.
Yeah, and they did the seeds.
Oh, okay.
And I guess it went straight to his brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw her tweet. She's a little comical sometimes because, it's just like yesterday she put a thing out when everyone was going on and on about, this Corey Lewandowski testimony and all this. She just put a thing out wanting to remind everybody, CNN is the network that gave this guy a fucking job, by the way. Which is true. So, I don't know. He must have acted even more ridiculous than he does on a normal basis, which is saying something.
Yes, Phil.
There was a company in China that had to put nets out in front of their on their business to keep people from committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Today, somebody jumped from the Facebook headquarters. An employee committed suicide by jumping off the building.
Where was this at?
How many?
Facebook is in
Yeah.
Sunnyvale.
How many likes did he get?
Mountain View.
Yeah,
many
Mountain
those-
Views.
Yeah, how many likes
Yeah,
did he get?
Facebook worker dies after jumping from headquarters building. So I guess maybe there is difficult there is whatever that Chinese company was
Well,
called. I know Alex.
I'm going
knows.
online about that and giving it that. Right. Yeah.
Well, big tech.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a broader subject on that matter. All
Oh,
the,
men
Well,
like
wait a minute,
Paul break up
let
big
let
tech
Brian
firms.
talk here. What, Brian?
Extrapolating on that anecdotal piece of information that Phil shared with us, the influence, the negative influence, of course, that big tech has had on us for the last 15, especially for the last 15 years, and it seems to be a growing bipartisan effort among Republicans or Democrats and Republicans to break these firms up, as they should. One of two things that I wholeheartly, as far as rhetoric goes, throw my support behind Trump on. This and his crusades against Amazon and the like, as well as his stance on China, the Chinese trade and international trade as well. It's NAFTA. We need to preserve NAFTA. The only reason why we need to preserve NAFTA is because fucking hedge fund managers who haven't picked a shovel up in their goddamn lives is telling us that, for their livelihood, so they can afford their blowjobs and their hookers and their fucking yachts, that we need to support their fucking lifestyle at our expense. Fuck you.
I would love to get
Lick
this.
my asshole, not necessarily in that order.
Oh boy.
Holy no.
America first, and not the racist America first. I mean America first, as in the melting pot. Everybody, Alabama and Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania should compete with New York and Alabama. It shouldn't be Pennsylvania and New York competing with Beijing and fucking Vietnam.
Yeah.
I think I.
Did you see that Amazon is holding job fairs?
Oh really?
There might be one near you, Brian. Who knows?
Yeah, I've worked for Amazon. I don't care to anymore.
No, they have 30,000 jobs available.
Yeah, and I wonder how many of them are expendable like that.
Well, I mean, I've heard horror stories about people on the line there boxing up
Believe them.
packages. And they're
True.
required to do
Those
so.
stories are true. Believe them.
They're required to do so many an hour, and if they don't get that done, they're out.
If any organization needs a collective bargaining and a union, it's that.
Yeah, absolutely. If any company needs a union, it's Amazon. There's no
Bezos,
question
that
about it.
prick. I can't. Don't get me started on that bald-headed motherfucker.
And right behind him, I mean, I don't know. See, if Facebook doesn't have the same kind of business, they don't have something where they got to get people on an assembly line boxing packages and sending them out.
No, but they are manufacturing their own fake fiat currency. So
No, but what they're doing with Facebook is really a software-based company, where Amazon is a physical, hands-on comedy. You've got company. You've got to box things. You got to get people to box things, so on and so forth. That kind of crap, So,
Don't
You
they
know what I
use
see a-
robots?
You know what I see a lot of in Queens now, Alex? I see a lot of the Amazon trucks, like the vans, delivering. Amazon.
they're now delivering themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing them a lot now. When I'm walking my mother around, and I'm seeing a lot of them in my area.
I ordered something today, and then I had to reorder it, unorder it, and then reorder it because I put it on the wrong card. But when I first ordered it, and it's a graphics card, they said, "Do you want delivery today
Wow.
for
So you
free?"
need delivery.
And so I said, "Yeah," and they were going to deliver it today for free. But then
Are
I
you
went
still
back, I
messing-
reordered it, and it gave me a choice of tomorrow or the next day, so I took tomorrow. But they can get it to you. This new Alexa I got, I bought yesterday at about 5 in the afternoon and got today at noon.
Are you still messing around with that graphics card in the Mac Pro?
I'm getting a new graphics card that supposedly does work. Is supposed to work in that Mac Pro. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, I'll just eat it this time, you know.
Well, I thought it was expensive. It was like $300.
No.
Do you mean that literally, Alex? You'll eat it? You'll eat it?
I'll eat
You'll
it. No,
put
it's
two
like
slices of bread and take a bite out of it?
$200.
200.
Yeah.
Well, you probably send it back. If it doesn't
No,
work.
I've already sent back too many of them to them. I don't want to do it again. This time I'm going to work on trying to get the thing to work. I think there are ways
Yeah.
of doing it. I think there may be a cord that's not working right, or, you know, something like that. So, you know, who knows? Who knows what the story is? But anyway, Jeff, when are you going on vacation?
I'm leaving next week, and I'm going to be there for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Can you call us from there?
I don't know. The time zone is going to be crazy.
Where are you going to be?
Plus, I'm going to be in places like, let's see, I got a little my little list here. I'm going to be in Prague
Oh, okay.
and Vienna
Mm-hmm.
and Budapest
Mm-hmm.
and on a little boat.
They make a lot of good porn in Budapest.
Mhm.
I didn't know. Well,
Huh?
I didn't bring the right clothes for that.
You don't need any clothes.
You don't have
for
to
that.
bring clothes for
That's the
that.
point. But
Anyway.
you might need lube
Well,
and protection.
Well, let's see. There's about an 8-hour difference, something like that, maybe 8
yeah,
hours.
I think it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you get up at 7 in the morning or something, you can always call us, or 8 in the morning.
Yeah, all right.
You give us a little call and say, "Here I am in Prague," and you don't have to stick around. You just say, "Hey, here I am in Prague." You know.
I
Were
will-
they having a heat wave there earlier in the summer?
It's kind of nice and warm.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the numbers, and right now, I think it might be 78 degrees.
Really?
That's Celsius?
That's good weather.
No, regular,
Decent weather.
not a Celsius guy these days.
Yeah.
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 That would be nice.
Heard that, I'll take that.
Yeah. So we won't see you for a couple of weeks. Ah.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I'll be sitting here with like 2 people, and Charlie's going to be gone for a day or 2, and you
On the
know,
road.
Phil
be
back.
on the road.
Yeah.
He's
Isn't-
worth 3 people.
Isn't David Hajek living that? No, he doesn't live in Prague.
knows
in
where
Vienna.
he
He
is
lives in
anymore.
Czechoslovakia.
Who knows where he is anymore? So anyway, I have tried to find Renee too, and I can't.
hope
She isn't even on
I found-
Facebook.
I found her address.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a way you can search it, and so I'm just going to drop a
I
postcard.
don't know
in
whatever
the mail.
happened to her. You know, we certainly didn't upset her, but it's like she disappeared from Facebook. She disappeared from everywhere. Maybe the volcano
Well, her
got her.
husband died.
Well, you've been
A long
quiet.
time ago.
Patrick's been quiet tonight.
No, that's when she started disappearing.
Patrick, you've been quiet tonight.
I haven't had much to
Oh.
contribute.
Oh, okay, because you don't vape.
No, I don't vape. The only story that had any interest to me, the Colt manufacturing when it
AR.
up civilian weapons, which is it's prompting me to accelerate my ambition to purchase an AR-15 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you with a gun. That's a good idea.
Rambo in a wheelchair.
Stock, it's an air stock, so it would be fine. And,
Gee,
and
he came in here. He was in a wheelchair. He looked disabled, and then he pulled out the gun and killed everybody in the store. I don't understand it.
Build that motherfucker.
By the
right
way,
on out of
you
there.
may notice he's not denying that portrayal I just did of him. So you know, we can be the people who say, "Well, he was such a nice guy."
People
Anyway,
say I'm so psychotic.
Anyway, the theme's running, and I'm running out of time. Thank you so much to Phil Meyer for being with us this evening. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you again. Gosh, it's been a while. We've missed your terse behavior. Charlie, good to see you. Good to see you, Josh. And Sorry you had some trouble with your. Are you still there, or is he frozen? Oh yeah, he's there. Okay, Jeff, thank you. Patrick, thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Alex. And why don't you all give a big wave goodbye to everybody, and I'll wave back at you. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizens panel for tonight. Let me hang up on them here. It's pretty easy for me to do, but I can't do it and talk to you at the same time. Because I have to get it all ready for Jack, who is next over most of this same Gabnet. He'll be here next with the intersection. And then tomorrow night at 9:30, hopefully tomorrow night it'll be Damien, and I'll be back again. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I'll be back here again tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.